Hey guys, today we'll be looking at a super fun and easy track, Steve Miller's Rockin' Me. There's really only 3 sections to this song, and 2 of them are pretty much the same, so it's going to be a nice quick video for you to add a song to your repertoire with. Remember that all of my tutorials come with complete tabs and cover full songs, improv, and theory, so hit subscribe and that notification bell if you want some great free lessons. Let's get into Rockin' Me. The trickiest part of this track is the intro, so once you have this under your belt, then you're good to go. We're going to start off with some power chords. Okay, so that's an A power chord on the 5th fret of the bottom string. And then we go up to the B power chord on the 7th fret. And we quickly stab that as we go up 1 string set to the E power chord. And back. So the only thing to note so far really is get those slides in there. Really adds to the riff. Now, to get this little hemiolic type lick under your fingers, I'll just explain exactly what's going on. We bar the 9th fret on the A, D, and G strings, and then we can hit the A string and hammer onto the 11th fret, and then snag the G and the D strings with an upstroke. Okay, now that's the easy way of explaining it, but it's kind of a nice song in the fact that you don't have to be too strict with your playing. There's an element of fun and improvisation to this. So you don't have to be really strict with only hit 1 string and then only hit 2 strings. You can kind of snag 2 or even all 3 strings on the way down. Right? It's not a really strict, precise thing. But there isn't a nuance in there that I want to talk about. These are 16th notes. So we have 1 E enda, 2 E enda, 3 E enda, and so on. So to get this right and kind of rolling, we have 2 choices when we could lift our 3rd finger. We could go 1 E end and lift it off there. 1 E end, 2 E end, 3 E end. Or we could actually hold it for 1/16 longer. 1 E and 2 E and 3. And that's what you're going to want to do to really get the flow of that rhythm. Now there's one more little nuance there too. And I know these are some technicalities. If you're not a technical player, just want to have some fun, then ignore this. But if you want to really get into exactly how it was played, then this is really important as well. So we go like this. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and So you want to reverse your pick at the very end. On beat 4 you go 4 E and now you'll have to get some dead strings in there. And if you listen to the recording, you can hear the dead strings where he's giving himself some time just to get to the next power chord. Okay, and that's even more important to get those dead strums in there when we have to hop down to the next section. There. Okay, so that little rhythm that repeats 3 times, and then we go into this. And you can put a palm mute on while you do this, and you're going 2nd fret on the bottom string, 5th, move up a string and do the same thing, 2nd and 5th. And I like to finger it as 1st finger, pinky, 1st finger, 3rd. And the 2 reasons why I like to do that is the 3rd finger is a little easier to roll down. And it also puts you in position for getting into the verse where you can just slide the 3rd finger up and get. So there's 2 good reasons why you'd want to finger it like that. Now, that's just all the intro is. Let's get into the verse, which is even easier. Verse riff, I'll just give it a quick play, super easy. You probably won't even need me to explain what I'm doing, but it'll take 2 seconds, so I'll do that. The verse riff is 16 measures long. It's an 8-bar riff that repeats. So there's your 16. And very easy progression. B for 2 measures, A for 2 measures, E for 2 measures, back up to the B for 2. So there's your 8, and then that just repeats. Now all that we're going to do is put a palm mute on and just chug eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then all that we're going to do is do that really classic blues boogie woogie rhythm where we put our pinky out on beats 2 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So your pinky is just going out to hit the 11th fret. If we're on fretting 7 and 9, we hit the 11th with our pinky. And then we just go down to the A and do the same thing. So you're fretting frets 5 and 7, and then we put our pinky out on 9. And this one's easy, no stretching. When we move down to our open E power chord, we just use our 3rd finger to hit the 4th fret. And then repeat it all over again. There's your verse. Moving on to the chorus, it's the last section that we have in the song. I'll quickly play it once again and we'll discuss. So as you can see, this riff is very similar to the verse riff. It's the same chord progression and still 8 measures and very much rooted in that basic boogie woogie pattern that we had. But we're just adding an extra note where if we were looking at it linearly, if this was our B power chord, we're adding that note with our pinky on the 11th fret, but then we also have to add that pitch on the 12th fret. But I watched a lot of live footage. If you have big hands and you don't mind stretching, you could just play it all along those 2 strings. But I watched a lot of live footage and not once did I see Steve Miller or anybody in the band ever do that stretch. It's always hand very in position, smile on their face, not hard work at all. So what they're doing is they're moving those 2 notes, what would be a G sharp and an A, they're moving those to the 4th string. So it would be on the D string, frets 6 and 7. And what you're going to want to do is just deaden the A string as you play those notes. And you can take the palm mute off for that too, and it gives that nice little melody line that you hear moving in the track. And then you can move down and do it again. And then this, Steve Miller always slides up with his 3rd finger there. You could do your pinky, but I always see him do the slide. So just to be as exact as possible, that's what's going on. And the only other thing is at the end of every verse, the very last measure is a little bit of an improvised rhythmic figure. He changes it up. Even on the album version, you can hear it being changed every time the chorus ends. But I'll just show you one example and then feel free to improvise little rhythmic figures of your own at the end of every chorus. So at the end of the first chorus, he does a little figure like this. Okay, the only tough part with that, if you wanted to duplicate it exact, is just make sure your pick strokes are right, and away you go. So I hope you had fun learning Rockin' Me. Steve Miller's got some great songs. I'll be looking at Jet Airliner and a whole bunch of Jungle Love. He's got tons of stuff that I could look into, so we'll be looking at those at some time in the future too. But remember to hit subscribe, and I'll see you next time.